Hey, all of you out there in Eorzea, welcome to She Heals, I Tank, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. Today is the spooky Friday the 13th, and this is episode 241 of the Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Vegan Pete, and always by my side is the relieved,
but still kind of nervous, Avi Ale. Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, Avi. Hopefully you're doing well as well.
I mean, are you like asking? It's not like you haven't been spending every single day with me lately. Like more than normal lately.
Not really, because I actually had to go to work.
It's true. That is true.
Now I'm protesting by staying home.
Mm.
Yeah, Avi's relieved and we're both relieved because the election went the way we were hoping. Unfortunately, it's not quite going the way we were hoping it would go after the election, with one person being a big baby about it.
I think it's how we expected it to go, though. So I don't think that's...
Yeah. I'm always a little naive, and I like to think people do put country over party or country over selves. But
let's be real, this is self.
Once again, I'm wrong.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up today. I'm sorry we were off last week, but just I watched the election like 24/7, and I just wasn't.
I don't know how you guys. He did it for like a week. Like he would not turn the news off. Like even after the results were done, I was like, I kind of avoided him to avoid the news.
Gotta be informed, baby.
I was like, at one point, I remember even saying to you, like, nothing's going to change at this point. Why are you still watching it?
You don't know.
And then this is days after.
You don't know what's gonna happen at 2 a.m.
And then I came back in the living room and you'd finally put on something else. I think it was like Schitt's Creek or like H3's podcast on YouTube. Like it was something, just like a break.
I hated every minute of that break.
But
yeah, just with all that going on, writing an outline wasn't happening. And honestly, if I was going to do a podcast during that time, it probably would have all been about the election anyways.
And I'm not why you're here.
I'm sure y'all don't want to hear about that, even though I sprinkle it in every now and then.
You think you sprinkle? You're not a sprinkler, honey. You are like a turn over the trash canner.
A little sprinkle tinkle?
No, you're like a let me dump all this in your face right now.
I don't need to know about our sex life.
Oh my god.
But yeah, we just needed a little week off, so that's why we were off last week. Hopefully you all understand. But it's so nice to see everyone here tonight. I hope you're doing well. I hope you've taken a little chance to recover from that crazy week we had. Thank you to everyone for joining us, and a special thanks to all of our subscribers. We have Zalbag8 for 4 months, Exterminate for 7 months, Lorosia for 8 months. At 9 months, we have Unlucky Assassin, Satyr Eagle's Claw, and Ivory Mist. At 10 months, we have Argonaut54. 11 months, we have Crow623 and Nomad NP. At 1 year, we have Disco Cub and Allura for real. At 13 months, a baker's year, we have Susan Sprinkle. At 17 months, we have Aurora42. 22 months, we have Oaken Hops and Ace Kaneki hooking it up with that tier 2 sub. And at 23 months, 1 month away from a solid 2 years, is Broly489 and Hyper Pixie Gaming. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate those subs. You guys help us keep these lights on that keep Avi looking like a ghost.
I couldn't even respond to that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for your continued support. We know that it's not easy for everyone right now with everything going on, and so the fact that you're still here with us and still supporting us, we greatly appreciate it. So we appreciate you and all your efforts. So thank you.
And if you can't sub or you don't want to sub, there's other ways you can help support the show. We'd love it if you just told a friend. That can help so much, especially if they're new to the game. I think our most common compliment is that people listen for the Greenleaf minute. They turn it off right after that, but
I mean, we could just do a whole episode of Greenleaf stuff. Every episode is us telling you new things to do in the game that you may not know how to do.
And another sub right there. Thank you, Spookatron, for 5 months of subbing. So yeah, if you tell a friend, join the Discord. We have a great community that all helps us grow, helps us out, and it makes like the game more fun for us too, I think. Communicating with all of you.
Oh, okay. I was like, huh?
I think so anyways.
Okay.
Maybe Avi doesn't. I do. I love you.
Thank you.
I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to them.
Oh, I should be used to that.
But with that, let's get into everyone's favorite segment.
Greenleaf Minute.
It's the Greenleaf Minute. And Avi, what do you got for us?
So in this week's Greenleaf Minute, we are going to go over the various chat modes in game, explaining when and how to use the various chat options, essentially. We're not going to go super in detail because this is a minute. Well, it's more than a minute, but like, honestly, if we're going to talk through all the chat modes and all the different ways you could access them, like that would actually be a pretty long little bit. We're not going to do that. So Final Fantasy XIV actually has 11 different chat modes. These include Say, which is your close proximity chat, Yell, which is wide area, Shout, which is same area, Tell, which is only to a selected player, Party, Alliance, Free Company, Link Shell, Crossworld Link Shell, Novice Network, and PvP Team, all of which include the respective members of each of those groups within that chat mode. That's all the different ways you can essentially talk to people. And that's not counting Discord, which is outside of the game, voice, obviously.
I always get Yell and Shout mixed up.
Yes. Yell is by default yellow, and Shout is by default orange. I wasn't going to go over the colors, actually, of everything for that, because people change those. Also, you do need to take into account the chat mode options when you're using the world visit system, because then it changes things. So first, I'm going to kind of share that. So in order to send a tell to a player in another world, they have to be on your friends list. And tells can only be sent to players whose status is set to online. Like, they have to be online for you to message them. You can't send them a tell if they're not online. Unfortunately, Link Shell chat can only be used when you are on your home world, and as each world has its own novice network, I actually thought this was interesting when I was looking into this, that when you are visiting another world, you automatically become connected to the novice network of that world you're visiting.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's a little tidbit right there.
Little Greenleaf Minute?
Right. So there are keyboard shortcuts to use in order to access all of these different chat modes. All of them are going to start with a backslash and can either be input in their entirety or with a shortened version, such as \say or \s and \party or \p, etc. Not going to go into that. I think most of you know how to talk to people. However, you can also chat by changing the selected chat icon to the left of the chat message entry field. And this icon is a little chat bubble, and when you click it, a menu pops up that lists all of the various chat options available to you. And when you set the chat window, for example, to \free company, then you have enabled direct chat, which allows you to press enter and automatically type in your FC chat mode without having to type the \FC every single time you want to say something. You just need to hit enter and boom, 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 start typing. So you can actually even take this one step further. If you have, like me, maybe a giant monitor and you have the space to do it, what you can do is you can actually drag the various chat tabs off of the main chat window and create multiple chat windows so that you can have each window set to a specific chat mode at all times. Almost like you have different chat rooms open instead of right now they're all kind of showing up in the same space. This may be useful for you if you want to really separate out your link shells or your free company chat from your crafting actions. And you can resize these simply by clicking and dragging the lower corner and then move them by selecting the lower left corner when a hand icon appears. You can kind of tell when you can grab it, kind of is your little guy. I could definitely go further into the customization of your chat log, which how to change the text color, text size, or even how to enable timestamps on messages, but I think that is a Greenleaf for another day.
Good stuff, Avi.
So I know this is very basic, but I figured it's stuff we haven't gone over, and if you even learned one thing, like you go to another world, you're on a different novice network, I felt like it was worth sharing.
And I always appreciate the reminder of yell and shout, because I always forget, because I always usually just shout. Like, if you're in Alliance Roulette, you just shout, and everyone sees it or whatever. But I've noticed in Castrum, when you're in the castrum, everyone yells, so only the people there get it.
Yep.
Because if you shout, everyone in Southern Front of Bosgia
the whole area
gets it.
Otherwise, like, yeah, yell is like distance based. Shout is like the entire
whole zone you're in.
So if you just want to, like, if Pete's standing next to me and I just really want to make sure he hears me, I'm going to yell at him. But if I want to make sure everybody hears me, I'm going to shout at everyone.
It always seems like you're shouting.
I thought you always complained that I'm not loud enough.
Yeah, the microphone is weird, but my ears always pick it up as a yell.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you for that, Avi. Appreciate it. Now we have Avi's favorite segment. It's the tweet of the week. It is the tweet of the week, and this one comes from Michael, aka @micro_break. This is not the latest episode of She Heals I Tank,
but it was.
But it's fantastic to listen to Avi rant about a shitty healer in Castrum for it seemed like 15 minutes. Hashtag priceless. Hashtag shitty healer.
Was it really that long?
It wasn't long enough, if you ask me. And like I said, that's Michael from the Micro Break podcast. You can listen to that at anchor.fm/microbreak. And now it's time for news and notes from around the realm. Square Enix has announced a next Allagan Tomestone that will be coming in patch 5.4.
Oh my god, you guys, it's the same thing with a different name. I'm so excited.
Stop stealing my thunder, Avi.
I mean, everyone thought it, Pete. Everyone thought it. Like, really, if you really care about this, please let us know. Like, who really cares about what, like, the name of the new tome is going to be? Because
Who doesn't care is more like it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is literally a revelation, knowing what the next Tomestone is going to be.
Literally a revelation. All right.
Because with patch 5.4, you will start earning the Allagan Tomestones of Revelation.
Oh, it literally is. Well played, sir. That actually was pretty good.
With this introduction, the Allagan Tomestones of Phantasmagoria will no longer be obtainable, and the weekly cap on the Allagan Tomestones of Allegory will be removed.
I mean, in all honesty, who doesn't agree that Phantasmagoria needs to just go away?
It's not going away completely. You'll just not be able to earn them anymore.
I know. I just mean, like, the name is kind of, like, ridiculous.
Anything that was able to be bought with Phantasmagoria previously will be made available through other means. You'll also want to make sure you trade in any of your Allagan Tomestones of Gosha that you still have laying around with Ariana at Revenant's Toll, because those are going to be removed from the game.
Oh, and then the next time this happens, then the Phantasmagoria will be removed from the game. It's like the cycle that we've seen over and 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 over again. And in chat, I did see someone said, like, I don't even use my Phantasmagoria anymore. I highly recommend actually buying the crafting items and sell those. You can actually get some decent gil on some of them. So don't let it go to waste.
Make some money.
Yeah, make some gil, because there's so much stuff to spend it on in game.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. Called foreshadowing.
So there is something to get really excited about, you guys. There is a new screenshot contest taking place right now. They actually did make some changes to this that I think is really cool. So Square Enix wants to see your favorite place in the game, which is actually a really cute idea for a screenshot contest, in my opinion, because if you've been playing this game as long as we have, you have places that you really love that are kind of like, feel at least like your little hidden gems. So all you need to do is submit one screenshot taking G-pose in your favorite location. You're also going to need to have a Twitter account in order to take part in this one.
Do you know what your favorite location is, Avi?
It's like my most nostalgic location is, I don't remember what it's called, but it was where you used to go to Spirit Bond. You'd kill those little,
all those little sprites.
Yeah,
where you would fight Odin.
Yeah, there's this really pretty little like rainbow crystal area up there, and I just like remember that being the first place in game that I was like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. That or Mordana when the sky turns pinky and purple. because that is just gorgeous. So like I like colors. So Earth's font. Thank you, Satar. Yes, so I like that, and I like Mordana when we get the pretty like purpley magenta pink sky. I just remember those are my two favorite. Like they're kind of tie-dye-ish. I don't know. I like them. So again, this campaign is being run through Twitter, so you'll need to have a Twitter account. And once you have your screenshot, you're going to need to tweet it out with the following information. Both the hashtags, hashtag FFXIV and hashtag FFIXV zone sweepstakes. You're going to need your full in-game character name, your world name, an @ to FF_XIV_EN, and the in-game item of your choice from the prize list. Prices are pretty much the same, but there is a single change from the norm, which is kind of a big deal. The Cloud Stife haircut, which I cannot use because I'm a Viera.
I was about to ask, is this one of the few that's available to Viera and Rothgar?
No.
No bunny clouds?
No.
No cat clouds?
So this is usually saved for the grand prize of a contest, but now it's being added to that normal prize pool. So you'll be able to choose between the cloud hairstyle, the Ahriman choker, the bluebird earring, the gala cap, mandragora choker, noble bardian, and the scarf of wondrous witch.
She did that off the top of her head.
There are going to be 1,000 winners, and here is the very best part. They will be selected at random. So even if you don't think you have a great screenshot, you should enter because it's random. And the reason I think this is so cool is because a lot of times it feels like the ones that get chosen are just the ones that get the most likes and have the most like interaction with their players, which you can assume, yes, maybe that's the one that is the best looking, or you can also assume that maybe these people just like went and liked each other's posts to try to give them that little boost, and their FC is just large or whatever. Like, there's so many ways to manipulate the system that I think this is really cool to do it this way, especially with it being the one where you can get the cloud hairstyle. So thank you, Square Enix, for changing this up, because I know I submitted some screenshots, and I know I'm not the only one, and I didn't get chosen, and then you see the winners, and you're like, what? Why did that beat mine? Why did that beat? That makes no sense. That's literally just a person like sitting in a chair or whatever. So I do think it's really, really cool that they're doing that.
Sour grapes.
And they're probably, I think I do see in chat people complaining that they don't like that it requires Twitter, but in my opinion, from a business standpoint, this is smart on their part because it encourages people to spread the word via the hashtag and the tagging of the profile, which increases the awareness of Final Fantasy XIV in this internet, basically.
And if you're against Twitter for whatever reason, you watch The Social Dilemma and you don't want to take part in it or whatever, just create a Twitter that's solely for entering contests. There's plenty of them out there.
Tons of people do it.
And that way you only have to you don't even have to look at what anyone else posts. You just go on there and retweet or tweet your screenshot, whatever you need to do for whatever contest.
And on top of that, in my opinion, if you really don't want to have any part of it, make an additional email address that is just for that. So any of those accounts that you have associated with that, create an email address specifically for that, so you're not actually having to deal with it. They're getting their information spread, and you're able to kind of keep your anonymity and not have to deal with it. So there's ways, but it is better for the game as a whole to do this on social media than just the lodestone. The lodestone does not benefit Final Fantasy XIV at all. So I honestly, if this goes over well, I can see them changing the events to be done this way than the way that they've been done in the past.
Seems like they've done Twitter before, so it's not like a totally unique thing that they're trying out.
No, but with the 1,000 winners selected at random, in my opinion, means you'll get more posts, because people don't feel like there's a caliber to meet. So that means that there's more likely to be more images with the Final Fantasy XIV hashtag on Twitter, and so you'll get that trending spike.
Maybe it's just easier to do random stuff through Twitter than it is like for whatever submission system they usually use.
I mean, random is random. Random's not hard to do.
I don't know. But yeah, just make a new email account. I made this account just for Twitter at gmail.com.
I think that exists. I honestly think that account exists.
6969@gmail.com. Square Enix also announced this week that the automatic demolition of houses will be recommencing.
Good.
If you started playing after March 26th of this year, you might not have heard of the automatic demolition because it has been paused
For a very long time.
Since then, due to COVID-19. In the recommencement post, they state, although COVID-19 continues to have a large impact on our daily lives and economy, we are grateful for our many players worldwide who have continued to play Final Fantasy XIV. After our decision to suspend auto-demolition, we believe this new lifestyle and economic situation of living alongside COVID-19 will continue for the long term and have therefore decided to resume auto-demolition.
I fully agree with this. I think it's about time, honestly. Housing is too hard to come by in this game to put it on pause for as long as they have. So go ahead and go into.
What is auto-demolition? Like I said, there's probably some of you out there who've never even heard of it since it hasn't been initiated in so long. Well, if you have a house and you don't enter it for 45 games, the Eorzean repo men are
45 games?
45 days,
okay. Sorry. I was
45
typed
days.
Games, so I was like, is this a thing I don't know?
The Eorzean repo men will come and demolish your house. You do get a email after 30 days to alert you that your house is close to being demolished. The recommencement will start with patch 5.4, which is estimated to be mid-December. We don't have an exact date yet. So what does that mean for your house?
First of all, though, I do want to remind people to verify that the email address associated with your Mog Station, Square Enix, Final Fantasy XIV account is the one you're actually using. Because I had changed servers, and so my house was on an older server, but I didn't even know it was about to get demolished because I never updated my email address after I got married and my last name changed. So just a reminder, now's a good time to check and make sure that you have the right email address associated with your account because this is starting up again. I feel like I'm like the safety guy at work who's like, hey guys, time change happened, so be sure to change the batteries in your smoke detector. No? Yes? Anyways.
Yes, that's a very good tip. I know many people, I've seen that posted on Reddit before, that they had stopped using that email, didn't even realize that it was the one associated with their account. So yeah, you want to make sure you have the current email address.
I'm not the only one.
You can log in to the Mog Station and change that.
They don't make it difficult to update that, thank goodness, because a lot of sites, like, you cannot change your user ID, but you can at least change your email address.
So if it's an FC house, then as long as any member of the FC goes into it, the timer resets.
Oh, I was wondering that. Thank you.
If it's your personal house, then you yourself have to enter it to reset the timer, and the yard does not count. You have to go into the house.
Even with the demolition on hold, I still keep myself in the habit of going to my house just because I don't want to get out of the habit of doing it.
Yeah. If you've been inside your house since the demolition timer was halted, then your timer will be at the 45 days when patch 5.4 goes live. But if you haven't been in your house, your timer is going to continue from however many days you had left before the demolition was halted.
Ooh, so this is good news for people who've been trying to get houses, though. So this is when this goes live, this is the time to scope out houses.
So if you hadn't been in your house for 20 days when the timer was halted, and you haven't been in since, that is what your timer is going to start at in patch 5.4, and you'd only have 25 days before your house is demolished if you don't enter it.
I mean, if it had been 44 days though when the timer starts, then that's what I'm saying.
You have 1 day left.
1 day left. So I hate to be the negative Nancy person, but a lot of people haven't been playing Final Fantasy XIV. We've had a very major content lull, and so if you are someone who's been playing and trying to get a house, this is potentially really good news for you.
And I know there's...
Not potentially, it is.
There's decent amount of people that listen to our podcast still who might not be playing right now. I know for a fact there's those people.
There's at least 2 of you.
No, it's a not insignificant amount. And so some of you might be kind of worried hearing that. I know COVID-19 has affected the budgets of many people right now.
Yeah, that's very true.
Give yourself the best opportunity to save your house. there is a free login campaign that is still going on until November 23rd.
Oh, you sneaky
at
bastard.
6:59 Pacific Standard Time. So take advantage of that, even if it's just to go inside your house.
That's actually a very good tip.
If you do that, then when the timer starts up again mid-December, you're going to have 45 days left on that timer. So that would give you until about February to come up with a plan to get money for a sub. And even though Avi said she agrees with this, I come down on the other side. I can't say I agree with this change. It's because of Square Enix's broken housing system that we even need to have this auto demolition timer in the first place.
I mean, I don't think that people should just have the houses if they're not playing the game.
I think everyone should have a house regardless if you have a current sub or not. And I know the Japanese region has done a much better job dealing with COVID than the U.S. and most of Europe has.
Western countries.
But it seems unnecessary to do this. I know here in the U.S. we've only recovered about half the jobs that were initially lost in March. There's still a lot of people hurting. We're at what's going to be the worst part of the pandemic here in the U.S. soon. I know housing means a lot to people in this game. It can give them control over something in a time that can feel like they don't have much control. So the fact that they might lose that because of Square Enix shitty housing system is just kind of disappointing to me. I know there's a lot of people that can't buy a house, but you're not able to buy a house because of Square Enix shitty housing system. And I don't know, you're going to feel good you get a house because someone lost it because they can't afford a sub during the pandemic.
I mean, I don't, but you don't know that that's why they didn't do it.
You don't know.
I mean, that's a very negative approach to like someone being positive about, like in real life, we put a bid on our house, like that we actually own, and someone else beat us, and then that couple was getting a divorce, so they backed out and offered us then the seller offered us the house. So it's that weird kind of dynamic of, yay, we get our house. Man, it sucks that couple's getting a divorce, but I
don't think it sucks. Probably a good thing they did it before they bought a house together.
I agree with that, but like, I don't think you need to focus on that. I do.
What I want to focus on is Square Enix shitty housing system.
I agree with that, but I also really, really do appreciate that you're sharing the fact that there is the free logon campaign right now. And I do think that having the ability to log into that and reset that timer is huge. And Pete, maybe we can do the timer 45 days from that, and then you and I can have something set up where people contact us, and if they still are unable to pay for their sub, but that something's going on, we can pay for a month of their sub.
We can definitely discuss that. Yeah. We can do like a month of our Twitch revenue towards that or something like that.
I don't know. I just think that would be, well, the fact that you and I are still both employed, to me, is I would do more than just the Twitch revenue. I would like to help out a few people, if I can.
We can put it together for sure.
So, because I do agree with that, but it wouldn't just be like anybody. Like it's a hard times, help you out kind of thing. So sorry, that sparked that. But in my opinion, is if you're upset about it because of all those reasons, then the best response is we can't control the way the game runs. The company runs the game we play, but we can control the way we help the players who do.
Yeah, but I just want people to voice their opinion on this, because they did this in March, and right now more people are being affected by COVID-19 than any point during this whole pandemic. So I don't think it was the appropriate time for them to reinstate this.
I think it's more I think it's more about the game world itself, because you don't know if those people are ever going to come back.
I understand, but at the same time, it needs to push them to fix their
and actually on that note, because Pete did mention that it would be December, right? December, when people would, if you log in for this free campaign, you reset your timer. And if anybody listening would like to donate a month subscription to somebody who's in that kind of a situation, DM us on Twitter or Discord and let us know, and we'll work on the details of that and see how we can help.
Yeah, this is something we would do for listeners too. It's not something we're going to promote over Twitter or anything like this. So if you're listening, if you're listening to this, and you're in that segment where you're worried about losing your house and you could use an extra month of sub, email us shehealsitink@gmail.com and we'll try to work out a way to hook you up with a month of sub.
Yes. So that's anyways.
Good?
Yes.
Fix your shit, Square
again,
Enix. Everyone should have a house.
But again, it'll be in December because right now you can use the free game login unless it somehow doesn't work out.
Yeah,
for you.
I mean, it's just going to be buying a 30-day time card or something
and
like that.
And then use it
so
when you need it.
Use it when
yeah,
you
yeah,
need
yeah. That makes sense.
Square Enix has clarified this week that PlayStation 5 will be able to play Final Fantasy XIV through backwards compatibility. If you have the physical version, just put the disc in the PS5 and install it normally. If you have the digital download, then just select it from your library and install it.
Good.
However, if you play with a physical disc, but you bought the discless version of the PS5, then you'll need to download the digital free trial version from the PS Store. And then once you log in and whatnot, you should have access to everything. You'll just be playing without a disc now.
Oh, that's just like a little like technicality, but definitely like doable.
Yeah,
It'll be frustrating if you don't know that.
If you didn't know, you're going to have to download the free trial version from the PlayStation Store. Then once you log in, everything should be, as Avi likes to say, hunky-dory.
Totally sounds like me.
Character settings are not automatically transferred. To transfer your character settings data, you'll need to use the server backup function to back up your data, which can then be restored on the PlayStation 5. And good news for everyone who's been able to get a PlayStation 5. I tried this weekend.
All 6 of you?
And was not able to get one. From everything that I've seen so far, the loading screen times on the PS5 are really, really short now.
And I have been seeing them saying, so this, honestly, like that all PlayStation players should back up your characters now. Because of the fact that they're making these changes in general, I think if you play on the PlayStation, it might be a really good idea to back up your character just in case. Because they are making changes and you don't want to risk that affecting your character, your hotbars, your all that bits. Because it's really, really annoying when that happens.
Do it anyways. It's a piece of fucking hardware that might break at any second.
Yeah, essentially. Ooh, I need to back up my character again. Saying that. So I think last you kind of left what's probably the biggest news of the day is that the announcement of the next live letter. Damn it, you left it Roman numerals. This is like 51.
I did that on purpose because you had no idea last time.
I forgot what L is. L Roman.
Oh my god, how do you not know what the L?
It is 50, right? Yeah, it's 50.
So do the math.
Are you serious? 61.
There you go, baby.
I said 51. I thought it was a 4 at first. So it's 61. So I'm like, you're such a jerk. It's going to take place on Friday, November 27th at 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which if you live in the United States is right after Thanksgiving, right? The day after Thanksgiving?
That is the day after Thanksgiving.
It's my best friend's birthday. So this is going to be part 2 of the preview
that
for patch 5.4.
means we have the day off. And I'm actually going to have the ability to be up for that.
Wait, so you actually get the day after Thanksgiving off?
Yeah, I get Thanksgiving and the day after.
Oh, I have to take it off. But I get like random days off like Columbus Day and Veterans Day, so I can't complain.
Fucking colonialist bullshit.
Honestly, Columbus Day should go away and we should all get Election Day off. But, I'm not even going to go there.
Indigenous Peoples Day, baby.
Or that.
So yeah, that's coming. Anything else to add to that?
No, that was... Yay! Info.
I didn't check with you to be sure. You do have a lore question for me, right?
Oh, ye of little faith.
Yeah, since you don't actually make any anymore and you just reuse shit.
Except that I think you've actually gotten this question wrong like 3 times.
Why would you expect this time to be any different then?
Because I'm hoping you learn.
I want you to
learn.
I don't. This is not really a learning situation for me.
It's learning, unicorn. Close, actually.
Asians.
What's the ship in the Morbi dry docks?
Victory.
Woohoo! See, you're learning, and everybody's learning with you. I love it. All right, so this was originally from episode 195. So we are actually running out of questions that I've asked you in the past, unless I can go back and do the ones that you've gotten wrong again and again, and then just keep recycling that, which honestly, don't put it past me.
I haven't. I've got them all right. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I see a lot of red on my screen right now. All right, so Ishgard, the Holy Sea's standard, or flag, is an escutcheon divided into 4 quarters.
What the fuck is an escutcheon?
It's a shape. Each bearing the sigils of the 4 high houses of Ishgard.
Unicorn.
Which of the following is not a sigil of one of the high houses? A, rose. B, bell. C, axe. D, unicorn. Or E, turret.
Damn it. Okay. Unicorn is one of them.
Right? You've learned. Oh, you don't even trust yourself. Oh, I shouldn't have said.
I feel like turret is one because we have the machinist.
I heard turd. I was so confused. Yeah, so it's a shape like a shield. Yeah.
I feel like I answered bell before because I thought bell was a stupid sigil. So there's rose left, and what's the other one?
Axe.
Ugh. Fucking Ishgar's not really known for the axe, right? They got Dark Knights. The fucking sword. Son of a bitch. Well, if I thought it was Bell, then I got it wrong. That means Bell is 1. So it's either Rose or Axe. And Ishgardians are a bunch of pansies, and pansy is a type of flower, and rose is a type of flower. So that's obviously 1. I'm going with axe.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Even after what Icarus typed?
There's Axe Knights and the Knights of the Round, though, Pete. I already gave my answer.
You're right.
Fuck yeah.
He used his logic, and he won.
I can't control my horny level.
Bell is for the house that occupies the white brim front. Thank you, Sator. There is a gnat in here that just wants to die.
Did you guys see that logic? It was fucking amazing.
Amazing. So amazing. I know Icarus is trying to throw you off. I loved that. So I was like, I saw what you were doing there, Icarus, and I was like, even though he just wrote that right there, don't you read what he's saying? You sure?
I trust myself, baby.
I don't get when you have the baby. What?
It's just like an extra exclamation.
Listen to that
Right?
ice.
God. It's like just adding an extra exclamation point on it. That's what the baby is.
Baby. All right,
Avi, time for a discussion. What has been a thorn in our side for the past 2 weeks?
Lag.
Fucking lag. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this right now.
Extreme lag.
It seems to be Comcast from everyone that's been in our raid group.
It seems to be somehow specific, to Comcast.
But it's really weird because we haven't seen like any other MMOs complaining about Comcast fucking their shit up.
I was Googling, I was trying to find, I've asked other gamers. But so like we raid on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and 3 out of our 8 party members could not raid. We even on Thursday ran Shiva Unreal first just because we wanted to like check everyone's lag. And Disco Cubs agree, and it sucks for them, and they're on Comcast. Like, it's really shitty. We haven't gotten to raid. We didn't raid last week because of the election. Everybody's like, I can't focus on this shit. And then this week we're like, yay, now I need a distraction. And we couldn't even, Shiva was like, we couldn't even do, because our tank died because of lag. And then they got the res, and the res accept didn't show up for 25 seconds. Like, you guys, it's like legit crazy. So who else is like, is anybody else having this affect their gameplay? Like, it's actually actively keeping me from logging into Final Fantasy 14.
And we're not even experiencing the lag.
No, but the people I want to play with can't play with me.
Exactly. Like, I will say, like, the one thing that's keeping us logged in right now is wanting to do raid.
Okay, Kaylee, by the way, just said that they thought it was them all week, and Pete didn't want to talk about this. And I was like, we need to talk about this because this has literally been affecting me all week. So yeah, so CenturyLink and you've been fine, but like Disco's been playing other games all week. Yeah, it's sucky.
Yeah,
Chris is all like snarky. It's been really good for me.
No problems at all. The problem is 3 of the people we raid with have Comcast, and it's been fucking up.
Been bad.
But it just seems like it's Rory says they have Comcast, haven't had any problems, so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a combination of Comcast and maybe like a segment of the relays or whatever.
Although
going
I was kind
to...
of looking into like some of the things I kind of saw online on like there's a Comcast subreddit, which I didn't actually realize that was the thing. There's a Comcast subreddit, and it might be
that must be the worst subreddit ever. It's just like a bunch of people
complaining,
posting "fuck Comcast,"
basically. But like that, it might be older routers or older modems that they no longer support that people have. And so I think it might be like the combination of what router or modem you have with Comcast.
100% what Comcast would say. It's not our fault. Something you have.
Except that you rent that from them.
Yeah.
So like...
Get your ass out here and replace it then, bitch.
Right. So if you are having those issues, maybe try contact... And you have Comcast. If you don't have Comcast, I'd love to hear about it. But... reach out to them because you're not alone. This is a widespread thing that somehow is causing issues for a lot of people.
2 people in PA with Comcast that don't have lag. So apparently it's not a Pennsylvania problem.
Pennsylvania's fine. It's because you guys went blue.
Maybe it's a red state, blue state conspiracy.
You just bought a new router and modem, so Disco, you don't even have theirs. I don't know. Be sure to check out that Comcast subreddit and see. Can't even finish the sentence.
My red state, blue state doesn't hold water because Disco Cubs, Georgia. And we all know Georgia, big old blue now, baby.
No, Disco's having the issues.
I know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's why
I don't listen.
My thing didn't hold any water.
That's right.
But
so
because this has been preventing us from raiding, I'd say for one of the first times for me anyways.
Right.
I don't know about you.
No, you know about me.
I don't know if it's... I'm bored right now.
In Final Fantasy XIV.
I know you have experienced burnout.
Right.
This is not burnout for me. I log in, I do a couple weekly things or something like that. And raid is the only thing I want to do right now. Because I haven't beat it. And so this lag ruining it for our raid team fucking sucks. And I'm fucking bored of it in Final Fantasy XIV. There's nothing else other than raid that I have any interest in right now.
Yeah, I actually I find myself logging in and I kind of like check my retainers and I do check the submarines because I'm like gathering like minions for our FC and stuff like that. And then I go, oh, okay, I can do stuff. And all I really have left to do is try to level everything to 80, which I don't really care about. I just don't really care. I just don't. And I told Pete, so I logged into ESO today for the first time in actually a very long time. And I logged into ESO because I wanted to play Final Fantasy XIV, but I wanted what I was doing to have some sort of purpose for me playing the game. You wanted to
see like there was some sort of progress.
Yes. So like I actually
progress for something you should care about, or that you do care about.
That I personally, So I logged into ESO to play a class that I wanted to finish leveling so that I could gear it and actually play it, not just level it to level it, because I'm not a completionist. And I think that's the first time I've ever logged into ESO to get my MMO fix. And that doesn't bode well for Final Fantasy XIV. And I was a little when we talked about this before the podcast and I kind of realized that, I was like, that's not good.
I don't know if it doesn't bode well. I just think we are in kind of a rut because of COVID that delayed the expansion cycle.
The reason I say it doesn't bode well is because if other people are going to other MMOs to get that fix, which we do have quite a few friends who are now playing WoW and stuff, they may not come back.
Oh, I've been saying that for a long time because Yoshi P always says, you're supposed to take breaks. You're supposed to play other games. And I've always said that's a dangerous game.
It is. But usually, personally, I'm taking a break to play Dragon Age Inquisition or Witcher 3 or solo games. But when I'm wanting my MMO fix and I'm playing a different MMO, that's where it's dangerous, because MMOs are where you can get sucked into a different group of people or a different dynamic, and you start, like that's where you can really, really lose a player base.
Yeah.
And that to me is why it's scary.
Yeah, and for me as well, like, I play a lot more factions of this game than you do.
Yes.
Like, I'm into crafting. I'm more into, at least the relic now, I'm more into the Bojin Southern Front than you are.
I mean, I got
now.
my relic. I got a shiny relic and everything. Like, I went all the way.
I haven't even got my shiny relic because I don't want to get rid of the quest.
I have the shiny relic, but I picked up the quest on another character so that I could continue to gather the items. So, like, or not another character, but another class. So.
Yeah. But I'd say I do more in this game than you do. So
it's not a competition,
The
Pete.
fact that I'm bored with the game right now is kind of saying something. Yeah, you're talking about chat's talking about the content cycle of WoW, and yes, we realize that it's longer in some other games, but that doesn't negate the fact that that's how we're feeling right now in Final Fantasy XIV.
And what we're observing,
We're
our
not-
FC is like
we're
way
not-
less people.
We're not trying to say that any game is better or has a better patch cycle than Final Fantasy XIV or anything like that. We're just calling it like it is. We're saying how we feel. But let's examine it a little bit more. I thought I was going to have a lot more to do with this latest patch.
With Bojin Southern Front?
Not necessarily Bojin Southern Front, but I thought I was going to have like something interesting to do with my crafting relic as well, the Sky Steel tools. And I was hoping that they were going to add like the expert recipe system to doing that, where it made you have to be a better crafter to actually like I don't even remember that shit I did forever that pissed you off that I was so mad at it.
Restoration of Ishgard.
Restoration of Ishgard. Yeah. That's how little I cared about it that I forgot the name of it already. I feel like
this entire expansion got so much attention for our crafters and gatherers. So like to complain about not getting more for your crafters and gatherers, to me is like kind of feels like a little bit of a slap in the face.
No, it's not more. It's like what they did was wrong.
Well, and that's kind of what keeps happening. Like I would actually parallel this with the Bojin Southern Front, because we finish it all so fast. And I think I actually saw oh god, I just blanked on her name. But other content creators are commenting on the fact that they're like, I'm really upset that I'm already sick of it. Like the Bojin Southern Front and things, like I wanted this to keep my interest longer. I've been actually taking my time and trying not to do this and go through it too quickly, and it's just not keeping my interest. And I feel like that's kind of the problem with the content they've been doing of late, is it doesn't really like keep your interest.
And people are saying we should go back and
Thank
look
you,
at the time during 4.35 and pre 4.2. I definitely I love going back and comparing patch notes and stuff to see what came out.
Well, they're talking about our episodes.
Oh,
we can
do the patch notes. We can do our episodes. I'll go back and listen to that shit. I love retrospective. But sticking on these Sky Steel tools for a second, I was hoping they added the expert recipes from Restoration of not the recipes, sorry. The system of that crafting, the expert recipe crafting, to what we had to craft for our weapons. But they didn't do that. It was collectibles, and you get these turn-in items based on the collectible item that you turn in, so you get a certain amount depending on how high your collectible ability was or whatever. But I was able to fucking macro it, so I got the highest tier every time. So I just macroed everything to get the highest tier. And actually, I went back and looked at what I had to do before. And I had to turn in less items this time than I did for the previous Sky Steel tool.
Oh, wow.
So if you aren't able to get the highest collectability, then maybe it takes you more items. But if you're able to get the highest collectability, it's even less than the first time.
Do you think I would be able to get the highest collectability on this with what I've been doing?
maybe I don't think you're melded enough.
Okay.
Probably.
Because like for the collectibles, I can do it no problem, but like I don't know that kind of content because I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't really know your stats, but I'm gonna guess probably no. But you probably
So you do have to be a more serious gatherer to at least get the max.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people that are casually crafting. I wouldn't even call you a casual crafter. You're like every once in a while crafter.
Well, I'm like trying to find content that interests me in this game crafter.
But I think there's a decent amount of people that keep their stuff.
I tried, you guys. I'm complaining about all the crafter and gatherer stuff, but I tried to like be
Abby
that.
legitimately knows the basics of crafting now.
Yes. I can gather my collectibles and get max. I can craft things for the restoration of Ishgard. Maybe not the top things, but because I don't care enough to try further. I tried. I don't know. But anyways, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was just for I don't like trying to make myself feel bigger than anything or anything like that. But it's like for the good crafters out there, this is boring. 100%.
Well, but isn't that kind of what they did with a lot of content this round, where they're trying to make the monk rotation more simpler, more middle of the road? Like, you think that's what they're doing now with crafting?
It is, and I think they've been doing this that whole time. I mean, I really didn't have that much of an issue with them just making it really easy to level your crafters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's really no reason to add a crafter jump skip with how easy it is now with the restoration of Ishgard. Like, you did that.
Yeah.
And you leveled all your crafters really easily.
Oh my god, it was so fast. It felt like a deep dungeon for crafters.
So it's like
so fast.
I actually want I want something hard for crafters to do.
Which it feels like those weapons should be that thing.
Yeah, to have some sort of sense of accomplishment.
Maybe for like the Gen Pop crafter, that is difficult to do, and you just need like an Unreal crafter thing.
And that's kind of what I'm gonna get to is I think they were trying to make something for the endgame crafter, and any endgame crafter that I know, and I go to message boards and stuff to talk about to these people, no one's happy with what we got. Like, people are happy with the expert recipe system, like I was talking about for Restoration of Ishgard. We just wish it was expanded to more than just that 2 weeks where you grind that shit out to try to get a high score. We want hard stuff.
Oh, so those expert recipes that you did for that title are no longer even...
You don't use it outside of that 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is shitty.
I mean, you still do them now to get Sky Builder scripts or
but
whatever.
I mean, it's just easier and less failure to do the lower level ones, and so it might.
I haven't done a test to see which you.
But
get
it might
more
be,
of.
yeah. But it might be is my comment.
But yeah, like, even though I swore not to do any of those again, I did some to get you a mount.
Oh, that's right, because you love me. You did a while ago, though. It was a while ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
You were like turning. You basically, I think you crafted like 30 more things because you had so many. I think you were close.
Yeah,
anyway.
I want happy wife, happy life. You know what I mean?
You've been dinging a lot of bells today.
Dinging bells, baby. That's what I do. So yeah, if they put any sort of development time to doing this sort of crafting relic, I consider it a failure. Scrap it. None of the high level crafters care about this. Put your development time into something else. Because I'd rather just, have my crafted weapon. Give me my crafted tool, my just like it used to be in A Realm Reborn. Make it harder to craft my fucking final tool. I don't need to do fucking 30, 50 turn-ins to get a tool that's not going to be as good as my crafted one, melded. And that kind of leads into my biggest problem with everything. It seems like the last, 9 months, I've lost fucking 2020. And Monday feels like Thursday feels like Sunday. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But, like, it feels like it's just been horizontal progression this whole time for the last 6 months. And there's nothing to strive for. Like, I want to do Savage because I just want to say I beat it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it for the weapon.
Right.
I'm just doing Relic to say I did the Relic. I'm not doing it for the Relic. Because it's not that much better than the Tome weapon.
That's true. It's very true.
So I think they need to up the eye level.
Well, as Kaylee said, this content wasn't meant to last us this long. And maybe if they'd simply have upped the eye level, there would have been more of a drive to do it, even if the content isn't there to support the need of a higher eye level item.
But, so, I guess in Savage, it's going to happen in its own time, regardless of eye level, right? People are going to do it for the achievement.
Or the mount.
But like the Relic weapon, this one was over really quick, right?
Yes. And compared to past relics, yes.
Like,
but I mean, it's only one part of the well, no, we're already at shiny.
But yeah, like this was the second part. Like people thought that the first part of the Relic was over way too quick.
So easy.
And I said, hold on, that story was fucking awesome. If you go back and listen to the tapes, I was really high on like the cutscene, the instance, everything leading up to that Relic. I loved it. I was like, it's the first step of the Relic. Who cares how quickly you got it done? It was a fucking awesome story to go with it. Second step is usually a little bit more grindy, and yes, this was more grindy than the first part, but still over really fucking quick.
Yeah.
They went a little overboard, letting you get all of the memories outside of the Boshin Southern Front.
Yeah.
Dropping off of every fate in the Heavensward areas. And then, you needed only 6 bitter memories after that first part, which you could get by one leveling roulette. So takes you less than a week just by doing that. So Icarus is
trying to say there's going to be more steps and stuff, but even so, like if you go back to the older relics, like each step took way, like lots of people have the relic or the resistance weapon for all of their jobs already maxed out at this point. That is not like not that I guess traditional MMO. That is not even like Final Fantasy 14 and iterations of past. Like this is easy and fast. And it doesn't, like, especially the last step to get the glowy bit.
Like my women.
Like you can do anti-tower and be done in like what, an hour and a half? Have all your memories, like 2 hours? It's very quick.
Yeah, and I don't even care about that shit. Like I said, I don't want to give up that quest, so I stop earning the bitter memory. So I haven't even got my relic weapon.
I know.
But I don't miss the relic weapon because it's no better than anything.
It was better for me. So the weapon I had, because I didn't have for one of my jobs because of the melding. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like I think they need to make the raid weapon and they need to make the relic weapon significantly better than the tome weapon. Not 5 eye levels and a little bit better stats. Make it 20 eye levels
and make it really hard to get.
Yes, I mean, at least double the amount of time that it takes to get right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got our. Well, you got yours. I have the ability to get mine. I just haven't turned in mine shit yet.
Icarus, you're saying keep in mind we had more time to do it. The amount of time we had to do it, you should have 2. Like it used to be so hard to finish these things, and it is just.
No, you say it will be by the end of 5.5. It's never that significantly better.
No.
It's a little bit better.
It's barely better.
It's only better to the people that have ACT up and are parsing that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I want this to be obviously better to anyone playing with someone with a fucking relic weapon. I want that shit to be double the size of your character. Like, you'll be holding a book that covers the whole
You're
screen.
blinding everyone because it's so shiny.
Yes. We need to have the relic weapon actually mean something. Because I couldn't pick out a fucking relic weapon if you held a gun to my head.
But you don't pay attention to glamour anyways, and I know it's not.
Some things I do. Like, I'll notice some of the raid weapons. I'll notice ultimate weapons. But it's not the time frame. Like, people are talking about the COVID time frame. It's like,
well, it's still just Icarus fighting that. I don't think that. I just remember I farmed a single book. I'm still gonna say I farmed a single book for a week before I had the proper fates drop to finish the book to turn it in, which was one book out of many for a single step in a relic. And to be able to, like, you could finish this entire step in a day for a weapon easily. That's insane in a day. That's not a relic if you can do it in a day.
Agreed.
Even though it's a resistance, I know, I get it.
So yeah, I think they need to make the relic weapon significantly better than the tome weapon. They need to make the raid weapon significantly better than the tome weapon, because I think if you do that, more people get into raiding as well, or at least give it a shot. And I think a lot of people are discouraged or intimidated by raiding when they really don't need to be. I don't think it's like, I think a lot of people that are intimidated by it don't need to be intimidated by that, and they have the skills to do savage raiding. Maybe not everyone, but I would say the majority of the people. Okay.
Moving on.
So what do we
get? It's been going on too long.
Nothing to strive for. We got that. We need to have more vertical progression instead of horizontal progression. Avi, guild sinks. I feel like a lot of other people are bored right now, not only because it seems like less and less are logging in, but because this week there was a lot of talk about adding guild syncs into the game. And
this is in our Discord.
I was even tweeted as to like what guild syncs I think need to be added to the game. It happened on our Discord. And yeah, it's getting to the point where I don't need Gil anymore. I don't know what to use my Gil on. Making Gil used to be a reason I would actually log on. I'd get on, craft some glamour items, used to run maps to try to get drops for crafting to make some Gil. But once you have a house, can buy and make any glamour pieces you want. What else is there that you need Gil for? I buy my raid food and potions now because it's so cheap that it's not even worth my time to craft it.
So, and the big thing, and I actually kind of agree with this, is that like people think of Gil Sync as just something to spend your Gil on, but a Gil Sync is actually something you spend a lot of Gil on that removes it from circulation in the game. So if you're just buying glamour items, if you're buying anything from the market board, that's not a Gil Sync because that's going into someone else's pocket and that's keeping it in circulation. The only things that are Gil Syncs are things that you like your house or like things that you pay a vendor for in game. Like there aren't enough things that in the game that take Gil out of circulation in order to make sure that your Gil is still worth something. That's kind of what we're really talking about here. So I'm
going to tax everyone 90% on market board purchases.
Honestly, I don't think it matters. Personally, I feel like I don't think it matters what Gil Syncs are added to the game. I just think they need to add them to the game because it will make Gil worth more.
Yeah, so I'm not sure why this topic was so prevalent this week.
It's because of the conversation of Gil being worthless. Like, yeah. Gil, what does it matter?
But I was curious, so I did a little bit of Googling, and I did find a interview with Yoshida that was conducted by Chris Ray at WCCFtech.com, where they kind of hit on this. So I think we can just go through this interview in its whole entirety because it wasn't too long. Chris Ray asks, with Final Fantasy XIV now in its 10th year and 8 years since A Realm Reborn.
So wait, how long ago was this interview?
Like this week.
Oh, okay.
I'm very interested in looking at a fundamental part of every MMO, the economy. The first question I have is, while making the game, what thoughts go into the making of an MMO economy?
Yoshi says, for recent MMORPGs, there is not only the subscription-based model that we had from back in the day, but rather microtransactions that are becoming more of a mainstream model. Firstly, the design of the in-game economy will change depending on the difference in the business model. Further than that, there is no unconditionally correct economy system, as the game design itself would differ whether the game is based around content consumption like WoW or Final Fantasy XIV, or whether it's based around a time-to-win approach. In the case of a subscription-based game, there are not really many restrictions placed on the amount of items that can be obtained. On the other hand, in the case of a microtransaction model, games tend to place restrictions with real money on the capacity of players' bags and items obtained. Of course, due to this, the value attributed to the in-game items will greatly differ, and that will result in the difference of whether the main economy revolves around personal selling and trading or whether a focus is placed on an in-game market. For 14, we set the average amount of gil that can be obtained per day and, while maintaining inflation as much as we can, intentionally created the areas where gil is to be recouped with the system. Since we've designed it so that rewards from high difficulty content are more valuable in the game, we've limited the possibility for gil prices to soar for gear synthesized by Disciples of the Hand. But we've incorporated intentional design decisions so that the early stages of clearing raids, it is such gear synthesized by Disciples of the Hand that must be relied upon to deal out the most damage or provide the best protection. Consumables like medicines and meals equally serve an important role during these periods. If I elaborate any further, I'll probably end up writing 10,000 words, so I will leave it at this. I don't know that their math is correct for the amount of gil a person can earn in a day.
I totally agree with that statement.
Yeah, I think they need to reapproach that math.
Yeah, I don't know if they really have a hold on the whole inflation thing, because I think we need a little more inflation because everything is so freaking dirt cheap right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's so dirt cheap that at the prices right now, I'd never buy my own raid food and raid potions again.
Right.
I'd never.
So like KK said,
I would never craft my raid potions and food again.
KK said the reason this topic came up is because we mentioned it a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah, I kind of have been complaining about not being able to spend my gil on anything for a while.
I know, you're that asshole.
Got a little plan that might be coming for that, though. Don't know if I want to spoil it quite yet, but I might be broke soon. What did I want to say about this? He kind of mentions like the difference in MMOs, and you know how a lot of other MMOs that might be free to play will nickel and dime you for stuff. Crafting bag, for instance.
I don't feel like that's nickel and dime like you do, but okay.
But for other stuff, you don't really play them. It's more like mobile games that will nickel and dime you for stuff like that.
I just don't like you calling like the ESO plus nickel and diming. Like I disagree with that.
The fact that the crafting bag is in there pisses me off.
Literally, it just makes it a sub-based game versus a free game.
Give a shit.
You're just being. It's just.
I would be fine if they added all of those nickel and dime shit if it was paid for by gil. I'd fucking welcome it. But just don't make it be paid by real money. So if they were to add, like if we could get more retainers.
I believe WoW actually does that, where you can use in-game currency to like pay for your sub and stuff.
I
actually think there is something like, I think I had a friend who had something like that where they had so much gold in game that they were able to do that. So I actually think this is something that has been implemented to at least a certain degree in World of Warcraft. Like,
I'm not talking about anything that's costing money now. They change it by any means. Well, actually, there's one thing. I wish we could pay for gil. Pay with gil for extra retainers. Like if you were to have me pay, I don't know, 250,000 gil per month for an extra retainer, I would do that rather than $2 a month real world money for my retainer.
I mean, I'm sorry, I know we have a podcast and the whole idea is to like debate that, but once they get that real money for something, they're never going back. And wherever they can find a way where players will accept to play real money for a thing, they're going to continue to do it because in the end, it's a business.
And that's kind of what I got to with some of the suggestions that were made on our Discord. One of the ones I really liked was if you could pay gil for extra glamour slots or extra glamour plates, which I thought was kind of neat. But then I was like, well, why would they not just charge $2 a month for 2 extra glamour plates?
That's what I'm saying. Like it's never gonna happen. It's because of the retainers. It'll all be cash.
So something I thought of was that once a tombstone is not the best tombstone available, what if you let people buy all that stuff for the second best tomestone with Gil as well, instead of just the tomestone.
I think that would change the way like the whole market system is set up, and that would be a lot more effort than you're just thinking. They'd have to like create.
What if you just do it and see what happens?
They would have to like create it separately and code it differently so that it could be sold by a vendor, because I'm sure they're coded to only be sold by vendors that only accept certain types of currency, which is the tomes. So I think that's a bigger request than you realize.
I'm willing to admit that it could be. But I think that would be a good Gil sync to be able to buy.
I don't think so, because most people don't give a shit about that stuff anyways, and I think it would just drop the price of it even further on the market boards, which is usually already holding on by like a thread.
You can't sell that stuff on the market board, so it would
then
not
what's
matter.
the point of being able to buy it with Gil? Because then it makes your tomestone even more worthless.
But the tomestones are worthless already.
No, but they're trying to not make them worthless.
But they are worthless. Okay, for me, like, I'm not gonna grind out extra tomestones for a job I'm never going to play.
But that's you. That's not everyone.
But for me, I'm like, I put in my head, who knows? Maybe I'll play that job if I could buy that shit with Gil. I'll put that armor on that class if I could buy it with Gil.
No, because that would like negate your crafters then.
We're talking about tome gear.
No, but like the Neo-ish Guardian gear and stuff was actually pretty decent for like crafted like Gil gear. If you could get that with the tome gear with gold, no one would pay the money for that gear.
No one's doing that for the 6th job they don't even know if they're gonna play.
I don't even understand this argument then, because like I just don't think so. I don't agree.
Okay.
I think you're wrong, and you're not listening to me and why I think you're wrong.
Yeah, we can discuss this in another episode as well. So where do we go? Next question from Chris Ray. During the creation of the financial system of the game, do you look at other video games or any real-world examples, using them as references? Were any particular examples used in the creation of Final Fantasy XIV's economy?
Yoshi says, no, we don't particularly refer to real-world examples. However, using our knowledge about what sort of currency systems are used in other games, we do make an effort to gauge how currency is transferred between players. Apart from that, most of it comes down to our experience as players and conducting numerical simulations. It goes without saying that we all need staff who are well-versed in such thought processes, designs, and simulations. One point, though, is that when we are preparing something like an auction system for the game, we do endeavor to study real-world auction sites and auction systems. That is because a well-trusted and long-lasting system offers high stability and functionality. This is kind of a really boring interview, Pete.
You think so?
I do.
You don't like economics?
I do.
What if this was like that one website that you bid on furniture from, where if someone buys it, like, someone has 3 minutes
But it's not.
But what if it was? He said they examine it, and they were like, no, that's not for us.
I probably wouldn't read that article.
All right, you didn't like that question. All right.
I didn't like the first question. I felt like you didn't answer it. I felt like the answer was, you need to take a better look at how much gil people can make in a day because your math is wrong, which means your entire system is wrong if it's based off the wrong math.
That's good insight. I don't know why you thought that was a bad question then.
Because it wasn't...
It's a bad answer by Yoshi, but
Yes.
that doesn't mean it's a bad question.
The people don't read an interview for the questions. They read an interview for the answers.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's bullshitting around the answers, we gotta call him on the bullshit. Next question, Avi.
Mm-hmm.
As with any currency, gil has to have an intrinsic value. This can be judged by the set of prices of items like potions, food, etc. How do you decide the prices of these items? As more money goes into the system through increased players and the natural trickle of gameplay, do you ever look at changing the value of these items?
It says we are constantly monitoring the data for the Eorzean economy, but they never change it, so I don't understand that. We have the total amount of gil provided to players for the system for a given day and the total amount of gil recouped by the system on the other hand. We also have thorough support mechanics in place, such as visibility into the average amount of gil held by each player in a given level bracket and alerts for players who drastically increase the amount of their gil in their possession over a short time span. In addition to containing inflation, these are useful for us detecting so-called, I was going to say this is all about RMT at this point, vendors, dupe glitches on our servers, and gil farming. In monitoring these factors, we try to contain disparities in pricing by adjusting the market trading value in gil for newly added items and the amount of gil recouped by the system while leaving the prices of most items sold by NPCs unchanged because they are set based on indicators that serve as the foundation. To summarize, we will not adjust fixed prices unless there is a very major event that would warrant it. We did end up adjusting the pricing of several thousand items with the latest update in patch 5.35 as the purchase price was deemed too low or the selling price too high for those. But this has not been the first time since the launch of A Realm. But this has been the first time since A Realm Reborn.
The only thing I can remember them changing the price of are those yellow demi crystals. I can't think of anything else.
I mean, I don't pay attention.
Oh wait, was it the yellow ones or was it the red ones? I don't remember. It was one of those crystals.
I don't pay attention enough to how much like the leveling gear. I feel like it's like the new gear that they were selling and stuff that was you could purchase from vendors and stuff. That he's referring to.
I don't know if I buy this answer at all. I don't feel like they change anything based on how much of something is in the economy.
Well, I think that if you're only changing the price of the newer items and you're not going back and looking at the price of the older items, then it's moot. Because everything is you're only spending money on items at a certain level for a short period of time. And so if you're leveling another class, you go back and you need to look at the cost of all of the items all the way through the process and not just the items at the current market value with the economy the way it is. This is a really boring conversation for me,
It's
Pete.
boring for you. It's interesting to me because he never once mentions anything about supply and demand, which is like a basics of economy. And it's like,
well, that's because like if you're buying from a vendor in game, the supply is infinite.
Yeah. And it's also infinite if you're not buying from a
there's
NPC
some items
in the
that
game
sell out on the marketplace
because it's based on gatherers, and gatherers can gather an infinite amount of these items. And I think they maybe should do something about that, whether it's make more items based on timed nodes, or occasionally when you're fishing in one area, it's like, you've been fishing in this one area too long, fuck off. And maybe they need to do that with some of the other nodes as well. Be like, too much of this stuff has been gathered. We're not going to let this stuff be gathered anymore. And yeah, that would definitely increase the price of the food and the potions that I buy.
Well, like KK saying, why buy from an in-game vendor when quests give armor or loot boxes, or now you can use the trust and farm a dungeon to get all the drops you need? I agree. That's what I would do. If I was short on gil, that's what I would do.
Yeah, what are you getting from a dungeon that you're going to sell for gil?
Gear for your character that you don't need to pay money for.
But that's not even a problem. Like, gear for a character, no one's like, oh, this gear costs too much.
Yes, people are.
Who? Like,
people who don't have as much gil as you.
The gear in this game doesn't even matter. All the same. Next boring question that Avi thinks there is.
I really don't like this conversation.
God, I wish I would have got an economist on for this show.
Do you know an economist?
No, that's what I was about to say. Email shehealsitank@gmail.com if you are an economist and you want to talk about this.
About in-game economy.
All right, along these lines, it's natural for even more money to enter the system. To prevent excessive inflation prices, you plan on creating further money out systems like player housing. The added value is that these also act as goals for players to work towards.
He responds, it is true indeed that player housing is one area toward which greatly accumulated funds of gil can be spent. It doesn't just stop at housing, though. Items such as stylish gear with unique designs are also part of our mechanics, but that does not take gil out of rotation. I'm adding that in. The main goal players would have in mind for raising funds are things such as collecting garden or house furnishings, which does not take gil out of game, or perhaps acquiring their favorite gear to dress up their character, again stays in game. I also work towards generating gil myself for all the gear, materia, food, and potions I need for tackling raids, which again does not take the gil out of game, so it does not really like affect the value of the gil itself.
But it can.
No, it just means the rich get richer
and
the poor get poorer.
They could make it that way.
But it's not that way.
Everything.
No, but
yeah,
you saying it could be. That's not what I'm talking about.
But I'm saying
we're talking about the way the game is right now.
Okay, the way the game is right now, I totally agree. But they could make some changes.
They're not going to.
But they could. What if everything, like all the new housing items, all the new crafted items, what if they weren't made by crafters?
Then you would complain that your crafters have nothing to do.
There's plenty for crafters to do. I would never complain about that. There's plenty of shit for me to sell. I'm going to make a ton of gil. I can make level 1 items and make a ton of gil, okay? Because people are always buying glamour items. So if they're adding more housing items for people to make, put half of them that are just bought by a vendor for 100,000 gil.
They actually increase the amount of items that you can buy for your house from a vendor. They're still not expensive though. It's like,
I know that, but increase the price of them.
But then you would just craft it because those same items can't be crafted.
But they wouldn't be craftable. That's what I'm saying. We have tons of shit to craft. We don't need any more. The crafters and gatherers...
They're not going to take stuff away that people have because the pushback that people would be...
I'm not asking you to take anything away.
You just did.
I
just said those items that you can...
Going forward, you don't need to make everything craftable.
So, Pete, when it comes to housing, just so you know, because as someone who's never like put any effort into decorating your house, it isn't about... And Raw Chicken Baguette just said you complained 30 minutes ago about crafting.
Yeah, but not about housing items.
That's ridiculously
No,
specific.
I complained about the difficulty of items.
Let me finish what I'm saying. So you're saying new housing items can only be purchased by from vendors. Those new housing items aren't what people who decorate their houses spend a lot of gil on. It's like the partitions and the basic pieces that you layer that are craftable and purchasable from a vendor. That what I'm saying is like, so by just making the new items only purchased from vendors is not going to impact anything.
More partitions. They added more partitions.
It doesn't matter. People don't only get the new partitions. The way housing works is like you layer and you buy.
Okay, but you're just being contradictive now.
No.
You're not looking into the merits of this.
I'm talking as someone who has decorated multiple houses and the elements that you purchase. And by just adding new items, it won't have...
But if there's something you want for your house, you're going to buy it regardless.
One of them, where the items I'm talking about are the ones you buy 20 to 50 of.
Okay, so they put 20 or 50 of at $50K.
They are also craftable.
But you don't make them craftable. That's what I'm saying going forward.
No, these are existing in-house items.
Oh my God. But going forward, you could make certain things that you would want more than those.
I don't believe, personally, if they tried to do that, unless people had a ton of gil, they wouldn't care and they'd go for the comparable item.
Okay. Well, then it's a status thing. The people with the gil are going to buy the cooler ones. You're going to have a cooler house than the other person.
Never mind. This is like
And regarding the complaint about 30 minutes ago, I complained about how easy stuff was. Not that we didn't have enough stuff to craft.
Okay.
Pete, if you make housing items non-craftable, there is no way to make money as a crafter. I'm not saying make everything non-craftable. Jesus Christ, people. What are you guys listening to me?
You're trying to make an argument for an element of the game that you know nothing about.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Housing.
How do I know nothing about it if I'm selling all this shit?
Decorating a house.
Yeah, I sell all of it. I know people are buying it.
Yes, but never mind. Never mind. I'm not having fun with this. I don't want to talk about this. This is just frustrating.
I sell tons of shit. Make lots of money. I'm not saying all. Cut it in half. Make half the stuff that you introduce bought from vendors. Half the stuff made from crafters. Bingo bongo. Okay. What is Avi not going to like? What can I edit out of here right now? I think this one is interesting. We're not going to have a big discussion about it, Avi. For player-to-player trading, Final Fantasy XIV has made a particularly large change from market wards to the market board. What was the drive behind this change?
The answer is simple. Market wards were too much bother for players as they couldn't immediately find the items they wanted. What players wanted to do is partake in adventures, not scouring the content of a retainer's bag to prepare for the adventurer. A market system was not implemented with our server system on the original 14, but we ensured to prepare specifications for this in good time as we set out about production for A Realm Reborn, and we designed the servers so that they could withstand it.
I think that's about all we need. Had you even heard about this before?
Nope.
Neither have I. There used to be housing wards, or sorry, market wards in Final Fantasy XIV in like the original version. Avi's just out. It's not even. Let's just take it. Let's just go. She's not even paying attention anymore.
I tried to tell you it doesn't interest me. I've put all of my fading interest in that I can. I can't.
To the community roundup partner.
Didn't you have like a? Oh, it was just, All right. So Chili says it was actually really cool. They enjoyed walking down the ward and looking at the retainers. But they simplified it. I think it's better if they simplified it. I mean, how can we speak to it, Pete, if I didn't even know how it worked before?
I mean, I think you got the gist of it from that
question, I didn't understand it, but that's cool. So the community roundup, Pete, this is that image that I asked you to find. This week's community roundup focuses on an incredibly talented Final Fantasy XIV inspired Etsy shop. The name of this particular shop is called Amazing Amatsu, Amatsu, whose shop caught my attention when an aetherite crystal LED lamp that they created was shared on Facebook. We are going to have the link to their shop and this particular lamp on our show notes, and Pete is sharing an image of it on our Twitch right now. The description that the creator wrote up is as follows. Ever wanted to just teleport home after a long day out on an adventure? If only I could infuse this thing with teleport magic. However, now you can own your own portable desk lamp in real life. This is created in my own variation of the aetherites throughout Eorzea, a beautiful lamp and centerpiece for your desk or bedside. The lamp is made to be used with USB Type-C adapter, and it can run on USB connection, or you can opt in for a rechargeable battery if it runs off its own power. It's 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches, and it includes an aetherite crystal with aether that lights up with aetherite rings. They have medium and large sizes, and location base that has different options where you can choose between Limsa, Ishgard, and Gridania, and currently Ul'dah is in production. This lamp is incredible. It was immaculately created, and it's going to run you a little more than $350, but it is free to ship from the UK. Currently, there is actually only one left. So if you are interested in grabbing it, better hurry before the Amazing Amatsu has to start over and create some new ones to put up for sale. The seller also offers other items such as a Sanctum of the 12 clock, commendation tokens, class soul crystals, and even constellation stones. So be sure to check out their creations, and please note that these are all fan-inspired creations, and each item falls under artistic license and are created as replicas from the reference. So just be mindful on that. It's not,
Can we say that for like the music that we play on the stream?
What music?
You know, the whole DMCA stuff going on right now.
No, you can't. That's different. So I just shared the link in chat because Pete didn't while I was talking about it. So if you guys want to go check out their shop, they do some really cool stuff. And I just kind of felt like for Community Roundup, we didn't really share makers very often. And there are quite a few people on Etsy, and I'm sure other sites as well, who create some wonderful Final Fantasy XIV inspired items that you can purchase. So check out Amazing Amatsu.
Awesome. Now we'll move on to some listener reaction. We have Hida, that says, that looks incredible, in response to our first attempt at making some Lumpia and Ponset, something that we did like during the election time to distract us. And I think it turned out very well for our first attempt, I would say.
Yes, it was very fun. I'm surprised you shared that in here, though.
I enjoyed it. I was very proud of it.
You just wanted to talk about it.
Chili says, plus content is a little dry right now anyways, to be honest, with everything else going on. Probably for the best. Still gonna miss watching listening live tonight. That was in response to us missing last week. We missed you all as well. Mars Angel says, I'm gonna take a break now, just focus on upgrading the bows to gear for my red mage only, though. And they posted a picture of all the jobs that they had their relic on already from the Boshin Southern Front, and it was insane. Good job, Mars Angel. Chili again says, for Final Fantasy XIV, I recommend She Heals I Tank for gaming. I recommend, or for FFXIV, I recommend She Heals, I Tank. For gaming, I recommend Maelstrom Radio. For WoW, I recommend WoW Nightcap. And for snacks, I recommend Soundbites Pod. Ace Kaneki says, I'm so disappointed in North Carolina. Can I move to CA and live in your basement or attic? I'll pay rent. I'll even live in a broom closet if you have one.
We don't have one, but we have an attic.
We've got a carpeted attic. You can come by. And Treylands Gaming had mentioned us in a tweet with a lot of other streamers that they recommend. So thank you very much, Treyland. And some sad news. Treyland had DM'd us earlier that his...
I don't think that's our news to share.
He tweeted it out as well.
Okay.
So Treyland had asked for prayers from everyone. Unfortunately, his father had passed away yesterday. So Treyland's always been a big supporter of the show. And so Treyland tweeted out as well. So it's not like we're breaking the news or anything like that. But Treyland would like to have his family thought about in your prayers. And so yes, thank you, Treyland. And very sorry to hear about that. You are in our thoughts and prayers. And we'll take it out from here.
So on that sad note, that is going to be it for this episode. As always, we've enjoyed hanging out with all of you live here on Twitch. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Be sure to hit that follow button so you know the next time we will be going live. And a great big thank you to everyone listening to the podcast through iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, or YouTube, which we're now posting on. You really are the reason we keep making episodes. And remember,
TikTok.
Wherever you do listen, it would mean a shit ton to us if you gave our little podcast a rating or review, or more importantly, tell a friend to check us out. Here with Vegan Pete, I am Avi Ale, and we will talk to you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.